Okay, let's talk about that feeling. You know the one.
Yeah.
Where you've poured absolutely everything, your time, your energy, your soul, really into a passion project.
Mm.
Something that feels like, well, like you.
Mm-hmm.
And you're excited, right? You share it with your closest friends. Maybe you even explain, like, hey, this thing, it means the world to me. I put so much into this.
Yeah, you're vulnerable. You're opening up.
Exactly.
Mm.
And then crickets.
Mm.
Or, that quick, polite, oh, that's cool. And then boom, they change the subject.
Oof. Yeah. That hits hard.
It really does. That specific feeling, that mix of disappointment, maybe confusion, even a bit of hurt. That's what we're diving deep into today. It's personal, it's complex, and we need to unpack it.
Absolutely.
Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we take those really personal reflections, those questions that keep you up at night, and use a bunch of research sources to try and find some clarity.
Yeah, make sense of it all.
Today, our mission is all about navigating that tricky space. When your deep personal sharing something really core to who you are meets this, well, surprisingly shallow response from people you thought really got you.
Right. It's not just about a hobby, is it?
No, not at all. It's way bigger. It touches on identity, our need for validation, how friendships change over time, and all those subtle, unspoken rules and forces in our relationships. You brought us a really layered question, and we're here to help you get clear.
Precisely. We're looking at what happens when you basically offer an invitation into your inner world, this carefully built, vulnerable space, and the response just feels, well, flat, underwhelming.
Yeah.
And the source material we've got for this is fascinating. It's a really personal reflection from someone wrestling with these exact feelings. It's almost like reading a therapeutic exploration, honestly. It brings so much clarity, not just for them, but really for anyone who's ever felt that sting of being unseen, whether it's in their creative work or, frankly, any part of their authentic self.
It sounds like we're talking about something pretty fundamental then, not just a little annoyance.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the actual, bedrock of this core hurt? Where does it really come from?
Well, I think the core hurt really stems from this deep mismatch, a mismatch between identity and expectation. When you, or our listener here, pour yourself into something creative, making a game, building a world, writing, even using AI tools, whatever it is, it's never just a hobby, is it? Not for someone deeply invested.
No, that's such a key point.
Yeah.
The source we're looking at nails it. It says, when you share a passion project, you're not just sharing a hobby, you're sharing yourself. It's tied right into your identity.
Mm-hmm.
For the creator, it feels like, and this is a quote, an invitation to see the inner architecture of your mind.
Yeah.
They even compare it to coming out of the closet about my identity.
Yeah.
That's huge. It's incredibly vulnerable.
It absolutely is. And what's so fascinating, I think, is that for this kind of person, the creative stuff isn't just output. It's not just a product. It's a way of being, a way of existing. It's their inner world made tangible. So when friends react with disinterest or silence, it doesn't just feel like, oh, they don't want to watch my video. It lands as something much more personal, a slight, a rejection of them, their core self, how they see the world.
Yeah, the source says exactly that. Silence or disinterest can feel less like they don't want to watch a video and more like they don't want to see you.
Wow.
It turns disinterest in the work into perceived disinterest in the person. It carries a heavy weight.
A huge weight.
And that's where that specific sting comes from, right? It's not just, shucks. It cuts deeper. The source talks about how those superficial replies or just no reply at all, especially after you've laid it out, explained why it matters. It doesn't feel like they just forgot. It feels like polite rejection or even false empathy.
Spot on. That feeling of being kind of fobbed off, placated, even if they smile while doing it. That's cool. And pivot. You feel completely unheard, even though you just spoke from the heart. And look, this isn't about the entertainment value of the project. It's not about whether it's good art or not. It's about a fundamental lack of recognition for a core part of who you are expressed out loud. The why behind the hurt is so critical here. The source calls it a mismatch of values, a misalignment. You're offering up this piece of your soul, expecting, a certain level of respect, curiosity, maybe some reciprocity.
The basics.
Yeah, the basics. And when that doesn't happen, it signals something deeper is off. It's not just about different tastes or busy schedules. It hits that fundamental human need we all have to belong, to be seen, acknowledged, valued for who we really are. When that need isn't met, especially by people you consider close, that wound can go deep.
Which brings us to this really interesting point about friendship expectations. We kind of assume everyone defines support the same way, right?
Okay.
But maybe they don't.
That's a huge realization. Friendship inherently involves support, yes, but how people show it, what it looks like to them, can vary wildly.
The source material makes this great distinction. It talks about friends who show up in action. You know, they watch the thing, they engage, they ask questions, they do something.
Active participation.
Right. And then there are others who only offer surface-level words, that's cool, without deeper follow-through. The words are there, maybe, but the action isn't.
Exactly. And that difference, that divergence, creates a totally natural, and I'd argue completely justifiable letdown if your definition of real friendship support includes that active engagement, that curiosity, that follow-through.
Which seems reasonable for close friends.
Totally reasonable. Then when your friends consistently don't provide that, it feels like their actions just don't match what you believe a supportive friend does. It's not you being needy or having crazy expectations. It's a legitimate clash in understanding what friendship entails.
Especially when it's something so core to you.
Especially then. When you reveal something integral to your identity, that lack of follow-through isn't just a missed chance to connect. It feels like they're failing a basic relational test. So your disappointment, it's not just understandable, it's actually a pretty healthy signal that a core need isn't being met.
Okay, so we've got the immediate sting, that core hurt. But to really get it, we need to look at the layers, right? For the person who shared this reflection, this isn't a one-off. It's a pattern. They describe themselves as a creative first person their whole life. We're talking video games, co-authoring books, intricate D&D world building. Creativity isn't just what they do. It's deeply woven into who they are. It's like their primary operating system.
A fundamental mode of being.
Yeah. And it's not just about making stuff, it's also about reciprocity. This person makes a point of engaging deeply with other people's interests. They ask questions, they show up, so they have this internal baseline for what friendship support looks like, based on their own actions.
That's such a crucial piece. It's not a new need suddenly popping up. It's this consistent way of being. So when they consistently give that kind of depth and engagement, and what they get back is surface-level stuff, it's not just frustrating now, it leads to this profound, almost chronic feeling of misalignment.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because ignoring the work feels like ignoring them because the work is them, in a very real sense. And this long-term pattern, it can create this deep-seated feeling of being unseen, like the core way they express themselves just isn't fully mirrored or valued by the people closest to them. Over years, that imbalance in emotional labor, always digging into others' worlds, but rarely having others dig into yours, can build up a quiet resentment.
Not even necessarily conscious resentment, maybe.
Maybe not, but it's there, a feeling that a fundamental part of them keeps going unacknowledged.
Which naturally leads to the relational layer. Friendships aren't set in stone, right? They evolve. And it seems totally fair, even healthy, to kind of reassess things when your core needs consistently aren't met. The source uses this great door metaphor. Like you've kept all these doors open, hoping friends will walk through and really see you engage with this core part of you. But you start to realize most people just walk on by.
It's a powerful image.
And the idea isn't necessarily to slam the door shut in anger. It's more about stopping the effort of holding them open for people who clearly aren't interested in walking through.
Exactly. It's what I'd call a natural pruning process. It happens as we get older, gain more wisdom, mentally shifting someone from the close friend category to maybe old friend or acquaintance. That's not betrayal. It's not being ruthless. It's a necessary rebalancing of your energy.
Yeah.
It's about freeing yourself from expecting something they've shown time and again they can't or won't give. Boundaries here aren't punishment. They're about self-preservation, protecting your emotional resources, especially as the source notes, with big life changes coming up, like becoming a parent.
Right. Your energy becomes even more precious.
Totally. So connecting this to the bigger picture, these adjustments aren't about cutting people off completely, maybe. It's about deciding who gets your front row energy, the people truly invested in all of you, and who's maybe better suited to the balcony. It's just recognizing the reality of different relationships, not judging the people.
Okay, so that's the personal, the relational, but then there's this whole other layer, the context. And this gets tricky, especially with the AI dimension mentioned in the source.
Ah, yes, the AI factor.
AI-created content comes with a lot of baggage right now, doesn't it? The source points out how it often gets lumped together as AI slop, or it's about stealing jobs or environmental harm, often without much nuance.
Definitely a lot of societal static around it.
So the implication is, even when you're sharing something deeply personal, something that's about your expression, if it happens to use AI tools.
Eh.
That societal narrative can unfairly color how friends see it, maybe even before they look at it.
That's incredibly insightful and likely very true. Friends might subconsciously filter your work through that lens. Fear, disdain, maybe just confusion about what AI art even is, and it becomes this convenient scapegoat for disengagement.
A ready-made excuse.
Kind of. They might not even realize they're doing it, but the general cultural anxiety around AI gives them an almost guilt-free pass for not digging deeper. Oh, it's AI stuff. I don't really get that. I'm not into that.
Right.
But what's really crucial, as the source suggests, is that this underlying pattern of disengagement probably existed before AI became a big thing. The resistance to deep engagement was likely already there. AI just provides a new, shiny, publicly acceptable label for it. It lets them avoid confronting their own reluctance to put in the effort, you know?
That makes a lot of sense. It lets them off the hook in
I
a way.
agree.
Which raises an even bigger question. Why is finding real depth, real engagement just so hard in general?
Yeah.
Beyond our specific friends or AI, are there bigger things at play?
Oh, absolutely. The source points to several broader societal trends that make deep engagement a real uphill battle. It's not just you, it's systemic.
Okay, like what?
Well, first, there's the whole individualism and self-care culture. Now, don't get me wrong, self-care is vital. But sometimes
It becomes an excuse.
it can be weaponized, yeah. Or just genuinely lead to people feeling perpetually maxed out. Constantly bombarded by world stressors, people prioritize protecting their own good vibes, their own peace, which often translates to avoiding anything that feels like emotional labor, even if it's engaging with a close friend's passion. Depth takes energy, and many feel they just don't have it spare.
Protecting my peace sometimes means avoiding your difficult thing.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Then there's the shift towards transactional living. Think about it. DoorDash, Uber, Amazon Prime. Everything is instant, convenient. It's subtly eroded our instinct to rely on each other, to invest time in each other's lives and passions.
We don't ask friends for favors as much.
Right, the fabric of community, where you'd naturally help out, show up, invest time, it's weakened. That convenience, while great in many ways, has chipped away at those small reciprocal acts of support that used to bind us more closely.
Okay. And you mentioned the attention economy, too. I feel this one.
Oh, yeah. It's huge. Constant notifications, ads, algorithms fighting for every second of our focus. Our brains are being rewired for short bursts, quick hits.
Like TikTok brain.
Exactly. It makes sustained focus engagement, like really digging into a friend's complex project, feel unnatural, even difficult. We're trained for scrolling, not reflecting. We've lost the endurance for deep dives.
And our creative projects themselves get caught in this. You said creativity is now seen as content.
Yeah. Your deeply personal work, your labor of love, gets unconsciously filed in the same mental folder as the latest Netflix binge or a viral video. It's just another piece of content competing for limited attention in a commodified market.
So it loses its personal meaning.
It can, in the eyes of the potential audience, yeah. The intrinsic value, this is an expression of me, my soul, my identity, gets flattened. It's judged on its entertainment value or its potential virality, not its personal significance. No wonder it stings when friends treat your vulnerability like just another option in their feed.
That's pretty bleak, actually. But it explains a lot. And the last one was general distrust and information overload.
Right. We're drowning in information. Everyone's an expert after a quick Google search. Paradoxically, this can make people cling to what's familiar, what's comfortable. They become less curious, less willing to admit they don't know something.
Less willing to learn.
Less willing to put in the effort, maybe. There's a general distrust of nuance, of complexity. It all contributes to this widespread skill gap in how we connect deeply, how we invest in understanding something or someone new, especially if it challenges us. So the source asks a really profound question. Is it even fair to expect deep engagement when society itself seems to be training us against it?
Wow, okay. So it's not just my friends being flaky. It's like the whole environment is pushing against this kind of connection.
It's definitely a contributing factor, a major one.
And layered on top of that, the source brings up this idea of feeling unique, maybe feeling like you're just wired differently. Like the listener feels they think or feel more deeply, more curiously, more reflectively than a lot of their friends, which leads to feeling like a misfit in shallow spaces. How should we understand that feeling?
That's such an important point. Instead of seeing that feeling as a problem or, immediately jumping to pathologize it like, oh, I must be neurodivergent, which can sometimes imply a deficit.
Right.
It's really helpful to reframe it.
How?
What if what you feel as thinking too much or being a misfit is actually a rare capacity for depth? It's not a flaw, it's a strength, a valuable trait.
A superpower, maybe?
Could be. But because depth isn't the common currency in many social circles today, like we just discussed with all those societal pressures, this mismatch creates that consistent disappointment. You're bringing a feast to a table where people are only snacking. Right. So the solution isn't to diminish your own depth, to try and be less insightful or curious. It's about being strategic, choosing where and with whom you invest that depth. Your unique way of engaging isn't the problem. It's about finding the right environment for it. It needs to be protected, not suppressed.
Okay, that reframe is really helpful. So let's get practical. Let's talk about the actual levels of engagement. Because understanding what you're really asking for is key here, right? The source breaks it down into 3 levels, which I found super useful.
Yeah, they're really clarifying.
Level 1 is just basic awareness check-in. Super minimal effort, really. Just acknowledging the thing exists and matters to you. Hey, how's that YouTube channel going? Or working on your project lately? Basic curiosity.
And the source points out, tellingly, how rare even that basic question can be.
Which is wild. Then there's level 2, which goes a step deeper, meaning process. This is asking, what does that mean to you? Or how did you even make that? It's showing interest in the why behind it, the inner world.
It signals, I want to understand you better.
Right. And then there's level 3, audience consumption. This is, can I see the video?
Hmm.
Or actually watching it, reading it, playing it, becoming a consumer.
Yeah.
Now, the crucial point the listener makes is they're not necessarily demanding everyone be a level 3 superfan for every single thing.
No, that's often unrealistic.
For the closest friends, yeah, maybe some level 3 engagement is hoped for. But the real gut punch, the deep disappointment, it comes from the consistent failure of friends to even meet level 1 or level 2.
That's the vital distinction. It's not about wanting an audience. It's about wanting basic curiosity and care about you. When even levels 1 and 2 are consistently missed, it signals a much bigger relational gap than just different media tastes. It feels like they don't even acknowledge that this significant part of your life exists, let alone matters.
And the hockey analogy from the source illustrates this perfectly.
Hey, that's brilliant, yeah.
You're like, if your friend plays hockey every weekend, pours their heart into it, you don't expect friends to come to every single game, right? Wearing the jersey, waving a foam finger.
No, that's level 3 audience stuff.
But you would expect them to ask, how's hockey going? Or, big game this weekend? Or, did you guys win the championship?
Basic relational courtesy, acknowledging a major part of their friend's life and identity.
Exactly. It's not about being a fan. It's about showing you see them, you care about what matters to them. The listener needs friends who can offer that basic recognition, not necessarily become devoted followers.
Precisely. And this connects directly to the whole idea of the sub-personalities and the videos mentioned. The source stresses these aren't just random content. They're a whole framework for understanding identity, for expression.
Like facets of a diamond.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Not multiple personalities, but different facets of one complex person, each catching the light differently. The videos aren't just showing characters, they're showing how these facets work, how the person processes the world through these different lenses. They're richer than words alone.
They're translation tools, the source calls them.
Exactly. Tools to communicate texture and nuance that are hard to get across otherwise.
Which leads to that really powerful condition analogy.
Ah, yes. This one's crucial. The idea is, imagine a friend had a rare, complex condition, something that fundamentally shaped their experience. The source uses Alice in Wonderland syndrome as an example.
Okay.
And they shared a short video explaining it, saying, this will help you understand what my life is like. What would a caring friend do?
You'd watch it, obviously. You'd want to understand.
Right. You'd make the effort because it's vital to understanding your friend's reality. So refusing to engage with even 1 or 2 videos explaining these sub-personalities, this core framework, it feels like refusing to learn the language of you.
Wow. That's strong.
It feels like rejecting the very framework that explains who they are. It's not just skipping content. It feels like a profound disinterest in truly knowing the person. It's like saying, I don't want to learn how to understand you, even though you've handed me the key.
So these videos then, especially the ones explaining the core concepts like subpersonalities, they become this sorting mechanism, a reasonable one, the source argues, the S-tier friend test.
Exactly. It helps differentiate.
A baseline friend, maybe they ask questions in conversation, they hit levels 1 and 2 sometimes, but an S-tier friend, they go further, They also invest a bit of time in the archive, watching a key video, skimming something to really get you in the way you've made possible.
And look, this isn't about saying friends who don't do level 3 are bad people. Not at all.
No, no.
But it does mean they might not be capable of or willing to offer the level of intimacy, curiosity, and reciprocity you need in your absolute closest circle. Conversation is great, but without some follow-up, some willingness to engage with the deeper stuff you offer, it can start to feel like empty courtesy.
Like checking a box.
Yeah, like they asked the question but didn't really stick around for the answer in its fullest form. So the videos aren't optional extras for the S-tier connection. They're part of learning the language. Refusing to engage, even minimally. That's the real test.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly and talk about why. Why would friends resist? Even something simple like watching a short video that explains a core part of you.
Yeah, the resistance itself is fascinating.
The source uses another great analogy, the Calculus 101 video. You ask someone who's never seen calculus to watch a simple intro video before you discuss it. And instead of just watching it, which might take 5 minutes, they spend 10 minutes arguing why they shouldn't have to, why they're too busy, why it's not their thing.
Yes, spending more energy resisting than it would take to just do the thing.
Right. Which suggests it's not really about healthy boundaries. I don't have time right now.
Yeah.
It's pointing towards deeper defense mechanisms. This is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
It might not always be about them not caring about you.
Exactly. It might be more about what's going on inside them, their own stuff getting triggered.
Okay, so what kind of defenses might be at play? Let's break them down.
Well, one common one is simply fear of change. It sounds subtle, but think about it. We mentally categorize our friends, right? He's my gaming buddy. She's my coffee friend.
Yeah.
When you reveal this complex, creative, maybe even slightly unfamiliar part of yourself, Max, with subpersonalities and AI art, it disrupts their neat mental box for you. It requires them to update their understanding. And honestly, for some people, that feels like work, or it's just unsettling.
It challenges their fixed idea of who you are.
Precisely. And maybe their fixed idea of the relationship, too. So disengagement becomes easier than revising their mental file. They stick with the older, simpler version of you.
That really hits home. Okay, what else?
Then there's the fear of introspection. Your deep, reflective work might inadvertently hold up a mirror to them. Yeah. It might trigger their own insecurities. Maybe about their own lack of self-knowledge, their own unexpressed creativity, or parts of their identity they haven't explored. It's often easier to look away from your depth than risk confronting their own perceived shallowness. Avoidance protects them from that uncomfortable self-reflection.
Wow. Okay. And just a basic fear of discomfort.
Absolutely. Let's be real. Deep conversations about identity frameworks, subpersonalities, the nuances of AI, it's not exactly light, breezy, good vibes only small talk.
Definitely not.
It pushes people out of their comfort zones, deflecting, changing the subject, pleading ignorance. It's all a way to stay on safe, superficial ground to avoid feeling awkward or out of their depth.
Yeah. And you mentioned the aversion to active participation before.
Yeah, it ties back to that attention economy thing. We're conditioned for passive scrolling. Active engagement, watching something thoughtfully, processing it, formulating a response requires effort. It demands more than just reflexive politeness. For someone already feeling drained or overwhelmed, your request, however simple it seems to you, can feel like a surprisingly heavy lift.
Okay. What about a fear of being inadequate?
That's a big one too. What if I watch it and I just don't get it? What if I say the wrong thing about these subpersonalities? What if I misunderstand and look stupid?
Or disappoint you?
Or disappoint you. Exactly. So they might avoid engaging altogether as a way to protect themselves from that perceived vulnerability, from looking ignorant or saying something clumsy. It's self-preservation.
And the defensiveness around autonomy, the calculus thing again.
Classic resistance, that knee-jerk you can't make me reaction. It's about protecting their sense of control, even if it's illogical. Ironically, as we said, they might spend more energy fighting the request than it would take to just watch the damn video. It's less about the video itself and more about resisting the feeling of being told what to do.
And for some, maybe it's just framing friendship as convenience.
Sadly, yes. For some people, friendship is primarily about easy fun, light support, shared activities, anything that feels like homework, like needing to study your identity framework via video feels like work. It disrupts their low-effort definition of the relationship. They want companionship, not complexity.
And finally, a fear of investment.
Yeah. This is subtle, too. They might subconsciously worry. If I watch this one video, does that mean I have to watch all of them? If I engage now, does that open the door to deeper, more demanding conversations later? Am I signing up for more emotional labor than I'm ready for?
A slippery slope fear.
Kind of. So they resist the first step to avoid perceived future obligations. What you're seeing as resistance often says way more about their internal landscape, their fears, their capacity, their assumptions, than it says about your work or your worth.
Which leads to this incredibly frustrating situation that the source calls a double bind.
Ah, yes. The catch-22.
Right. If you stay silent about wanting engagement, you feel unseen because they don't engage. But if you ask them to engage, it triggers their resistance, they pull back more, and you end up feeling even more unseen.
It's a perfect storm of conversational frustration. You're stuck. Silence means invisibility, but speaking up makes them feel pressured. Their defenses go up.
And suddenly the conversation isn't about your project anymore, it's about their discomfort with your ask.
Exactly. You intended to connect, to share, and instead you feel actively pushed away. It's incredibly invalidating.
And the resistance, you're saying, is often subconscious. They might not even know why they're resisting.
Often, yeah. They might not be able to articulate their own fears. Am I obligated now? What if I hate it? This feels like pressure. So when you try to communicate your need openly, vulnerably, it ironically just reinforces the negative feeling they associate with the topic.
Making it even harder to talk about next time.
Precisely. The whole subject becomes loaded. You're trying to be open, but their unarticulated defenses create this invisible wall. The real block is never named, the issue never gets resolved, and you're left feeling more alone after trying to connect than you did before.
Okay, so that's the problem, laid bare. How do we move forward? How do you navigate this without just feeling angry or hurt all the time? The source offers some really solid guidance.
It does. It's about finding peace and clarity within this reality.
First up is discernment without guilt. Recognizing the difference between front row versus balcony friends. It's okay, the source says, it's justifiable, to mentally recategorize friends. Not everyone has to be in the front row, getting your deepest thoughts and feelings. Some are balcony friends, and that's okay.
It's absolutely okay. It's not punishment. It's honoring your own needs. It's about rebalancing your emotional energy.
You don't control their engagement?
But you control your expectations.
Yeah.
And where you choose to direct your energy. This mental shift frees you from constantly waiting for something they've shown they can't give. It's self-preservation, acknowledging the reality of different relationship capacities without needing to feel guilty or blame them. Some friendships are built for depth, others aren't. Accepting that is powerful.
And hand in hand with that is releasing without bitterness and allowing for mourning. Friendships shift. It's okay to feel sad about that.
Totally okay. And necessary sometimes.
Acknowledge the grief if it's there. Mourn the loss of the potential you saw in that friendship, maybe. But the source advises, don't get stuck in mourning. Accept the evolution. It's self-care, not cruelty.
Exactly. It allows you to accept reality without needing villains. You let go of what isn't working, which makes space for what is or what could be elsewhere. It's about moving forward without carrying resentment.
And then there's the parenthood shift, acting as a natural filter. This was interesting.
Yeah, it's a big one. Becoming a parent fundamentally rearranges your priorities. Time, energy, emotional bandwidth, they all become incredibly precious commodities.
Fiercely guarded.
Fiercely guarded. And this shift makes it almost organically easier to invest only in relationships that offer genuine reciprocity, that feed your soul rather than drain it. Those friends who don't engage with your core self, they'll likely just fade. Not necessarily through active rejection, but because your life priorities have shifted so dramatically.
Parenthood clarifies things, as the source puts it.
With brutal efficiency sometimes. You just won't have the capacity for one-sided relationships anymore. Nature kind of forces the issue.
Okay, now what about that nagging worry? Now, am I just thinking too much about all this? Am I overthinking it? The source has a great reframe here, too.
Yes. It distinguishes between overthinking, which is the useless, anxious looping, and building a layered understanding, which is depth. They're totally different. Overthinking gets you stuck, makes you anxious, doesn't lead anywhere productive. Depth, like what the listener has done here, is about tracing connections, exploring dimensions, personal, relational, societal. It leads to insights, clearer patterns, robust frameworks. It's healthy reflection and analysis, not obsessive spinning.
So the feeling of too much isn't because the thinking is flawed.
It's because you lack resonance. You're operating at a depth that others aren't meeting, which makes you feel out of sync, like you're the weird one. But the answer isn't to stifle your depth, it's to redirect it. Your capacity for deep thought is a strength, remember, not a flaw. Especially with big life changes like parenthood coming, you need to invest that precious energy wisely where it's valued.
That leads to another tricky area, spotting people who seem deep but aren't. Performative depth.
Ah, yes. The ones who talk a good game.
They use the big words, they like intellectual chats, but it stays surface level. They avoid the messy stuff, the follow-through.
Exactly. Performative depth versus actual depth. The performative types enjoy the idea of depth, the philosophical banter, as long as it stays safe, abstract, and doesn't require real vulnerability or sustained effort from them. Actual depth involves genuine curiosity, wrestling with uncomfortable truths, humility, and crucially, that follow-through, action.
So how do you spot the difference? What are the signs of performative depth?
Well, they often say things like, oh, fascinating, we should totally talk more about that sometime. But sometime never comes.
Right, the perpetual deferral.
Yeah. Or they ask one thoughtful question, you give a deep answer, and they just move on. No follow-up question to go deeper. Or they quickly pivot the conversation back to themselves. And critically, they resist any kind of homework like watching that video, because that requires moving beyond talk into actual investment.
And these can be the most disappointing ones, right?
Right.
Because they seem like they get it at first.
Exactly. They dangle the promise of real connection. You think, finally, someone who understands. And then they plateau, they hit their limit, and the letdown feels sharper because the potential seems so real. It's the illusion of depth without the substance.
Okay, finally, this brings us to maybe the most profound insight for managing all this. The door versus loop paradox.
Yes, this is about finding peace.
There's this tension, right? Leave the door open to connection, which keeps hope alive, but also keeps that cycle of disappointment going every time someone walks past. Or close the loop internally, find peace, set boundaries, but maybe fear losing a potential future connection.
It's a really delicate balance. Leaving the door wide open means you keep getting hurt by unmet expectations. Slamming it shut in anger feels final. Maybe it cuts off possibilities.
So what's the middle ground?
Closing the loop doesn't have to mean slamming the door. It's more of an internal shift. It's recognizing, okay, the door exists. I've made it visible. I've shown the way in. Whether anyone chooses to enter now, that's not my responsibility or my failure. I've done my part.
It detaches your peace from their actions.
Exactly. It shifts you from expectation, which causes pain every time it's unmet, to possibility. If someone does step through, great. That's a bonus, a joy. If they don't, okay, it doesn't hurt you anymore because you weren't waiting for them in the same way. You've closed the loop of your emotional investment in their response.
That's really powerful. It frees you up.
It totally frees you. It's not about ego. It's about clarity and self-preservation. You start pouring energy into a one-sided dynamic. You preserve it for yourself, for those who do show up, and for the new connections and demands life brings, like parenthood. It's a profound act of self-respect, really.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up to recap this deep dive. First, if you feel this way, you're absolutely not asking too much by wanting friends to see and engage with the things that define you. That pain is real, and it comes from a genuine mismatch in depth and expectation.
It's valid.
We made that key distinction between basic conversational curiosity levels 1 and 2, the check-ins, the why questions, which really all good friends should offer, versus that deeper level 3 engagement, which might define those truly special S-tier friends who invest in understanding all of you.
A crucial difference.
We also explored how often friends' resistance isn't about you or your worth. It's tangled up in their own stuff, fears, discomfort, laziness, societal conditioning. But importantly, their actions still give you valuable information about their capacity for the kind of friendship you need.
The reasons might be complex, but the outcome for you is the same.
Right. And finally, that painful loop of disappointment. It's fueled by expectation. Closing that loop internally, releasing the burden of waiting, letting go of the need for their validation while still leaving the door quietly unlocked for genuine connection. That's the path to peace. It's reclaiming your energy.
Beautifully summarized. And perhaps a final thought to leave you with. This whole exploration, this deep dive, it isn't ultimately about blaming your friends or feeling like there's something wrong with you for wanting depth. No.
It's really about empowering you to redirect your most precious resources, your energy, your time, your incredible capacity for deep connection towards the people, the projects, and the future, like parenthood, where that depth will be truly valued, fully reciprocated, and maybe even celebrated. So the question becomes, what new communities, what new relationships might you intentionally cultivate where your rare capacity for depth isn't just tolerated, but is actually seen as the gift it truly is?